Okay, welcome back to math class and welcome to 10-8, equations of circles. The first thing I want to remind you of when we're talking about circles is that each point on the outside of a circle is equidistant from the center of the circle. So in other words, if I have a circle and here's my center, no matter where I pick, on the outside, that's going to be our radius, and it's always going to be equal. It'll always be the radius. No matter what point on the outside of the circle I pick, it's always going to be the same distance from the center. So that means if my circle is on a coordinate plane, then I can figure out the length of the radius using the distance formula. I know that's your favorite. So let me go ahead and add a coordinate plane into the mix. Okay. So to find the radius of my circle, I'm going to use the distance formula with my center point and any point on the outside of the circle. So for our center point, we're always going to label that on a circle h, comma, k to keep it separate in our minds, because the point on the outside of the circle will be our x and y. Now I'll show you why we do that here in a second. Because when I have my distance formula, if you remember, the distance formula equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, if the distance we're solving for is going to be our radius, we're going to plug an r in where the d was. That's our radius. So the standard form of an equation for a circle is actually we're going to square both sides so that we get r squared, so we can get rid of this square root. x2 minus x1, which is actually going to be our h, squared plus y2 minus our k squared. This is the standard form of an equation for a circle. R squared equals our x minus our h, which is our center point, squared, plus our y value minus k in our center point, also squared. The way that this comes into play is I can look at this circle and I can go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So our h value is 4 and our k is 3. So I'm going to get r squared equals x minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared. To solve for r, I need to pick a point on the outside of the circle. I've already got one here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. So I'm going to put in 5 minus 4 squared plus 1 minus 3 squared is going to give us our r squared. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 squared is still 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and negative 2 squared is 4. So my r squared equals 1 plus 4. My r squared equals 5. My r equals the square root of 5. Pretty straightforward. So if they give you a graph and they ask you to find the radius of the circle, can leave it like this, or you can go ahead and put it in your calculator. Find it an exact. Make sure that you round it to the nearest hundredth if you are going to do that. So that's if it's asking you for the radius. If it's just asking you to put it in standard form, then all you need to find is the center point, and then you plug it in here. This was our equation of the circle in standard form.